Hey guys, welcome to my channel. We are reading Monster High, Monster Rescue, Go Get Lagoona. We are going to be reading chapter 3 and 4 today. So I'm just gonna start reading. If you want to follow along, it's on page 26 and 27. Chapter 3. Let's start by listening to Lagoona's message again, Draculaura suggested. Everyone gathered around her coffin while she played it. Draculaura, ghoul friend, a voice from the, with an accent said. This is Lagoona from down Unday. I'm ready to dry off my scales for a while and start a new adventure with some fantastic ghoul friends. Can you help me get to Monster High? Thank you, mate. Down Under? Frankie said. That could be the nickname of the Great Barrier Reef near Australia. Awesome clue, Claudine cheered. Hey, what about dry off my scales? Could Lagoona be a sea monster? Maybe, Draculaura replied. It doesn't really matter, though. Monster High welcomes all monsters, no matter how scaly they are. Suddenly, Draculaura's eye coffin beeped to alert her to a new message. It's from Lagoona, she exclaimed. Then she read the message aloud. Good day, Draculaura. Just a quick hi before I head out to for a surf session with my Sibs. Really excited about Monster High still. Can't wait to hear from you. XO Lagoona. Draculaura could tell how excited Lagoona was to come to Monster High. Draculaura couldn't wait to bring her to the school. As she typed out a quick response to let Lagoona know that the ghouls were on their way, but as she hit send, something occurred to her. We didn't make plans for surfing at Monster High, Draculaura said. She surrounded a little worried. Do you think Lagoona will be upset about that? What if it's her favorite hobby? Well, even if it is her favorite hobby, started Claudine, all we have is a pool and a lake. But it sounds like she might be a saltwater ghoul. Draculaura thought out loud. Maybe she could look into digging a new body of water and making it salty so Lagoona will feel right at home. Draculaura said excitedly. She grinned, showcasing her impressive fangs. Or maybe Frankie can build a wave machine so that Lagoona can still surf. Oh, we can draw up the plans right now, if we just take this anchor over here. I heard that, and we will absolutely not be building a mini ocean in the backyard, called Draculaura from down the hall. Ha ha. Well, maybe not a whole ocean, Draculaura said to her ghoul friends, blushing. Just want to make sure Lagoona loves it here. Ghoul, she's going to love high school, Claudine said firmly. Don't worry about stuff you can't control. Besides, she'll probably pick up a bunch of new hobbies here. Or join some clubs, Frankie suggested. And then she paused. Wait a second, do we even have clubs? Not yet, but I'm sure we'll have a ton of extracurricular activities, Draculaura replied. We could have caskball and fear leading. Cleo drummed her fingers impatiently on the table. Focus, ghouls, she ordered. Like I said before, Lagoona is dying to get here. So, how are we going to make it happen? So, here's a crazy idea, Frankie spoke up, with all the ghouls turned to her. What if we just go, she asked. Bang on a minute. Wasn't doing our research the whole point to coming back and to get some Mama Mocha refills? Claudine said as she took a big gulp of her drink. You're right, Frankie explained. But this is more like a quick trip as part of our research. I get it, Draculaura exclaimed. It wouldn't be a full-fledged rescue mission, not yet anyway. I think it's a great idea. And the rest of us can stay here to start some research. I'd go, but I'm a little worried about the water, Frankie exclaimed. Sometimes I get a little sparky if I'm not careful, and I don't feel like short circuiting today. So, does anyone want to volunteer? Me, Draculaura and Claudine exclaimed at the same time. I'm just fine here, quipped Cleo. Voltacious, Frankie cheered. That their safety is numbers after all. Just then, Dracula appeared in the doorway. Did someone say safety? He asked. Here we go, Draculaura thought. Dad, were you eavesdropping again? She asked, pretending to scold him. Of course not, Dracula replied. But I do have to ask, what are you ghouls up to? We're working on a plan to bring Monster High, the next student, to campus, Draculaura exclaimed. Her name is Lagoona Blue. Claudine and I are going to use the monster mapalog to learn a little more about where she lives. All we know so far is that it's pretty watery. Watery, Dracula exclaimed. Sit tight. I know just what you need. Uh-oh, Draculaura whispered to her ghoul friends. I feel like I should apologize in advance for whatever embarrassing thing my dad is about to do. Aw, he's just being a dad, Frankie said. Don't be embarrassed. Life vests. Dracula's voice rang through the crypterium. Never mind, whispered Frankie. That's definitely embarrassing. Draculaura cringed at the sight of the bright orange vests, which gleamed with stripes of shiny reflection tape. Dad, those are totes gross, she groaned. Why would Lagoona want to come to Monster High with a pair of floating pumpkins? On the contrary, she's probably be very impressed with how safety cautious you are, Dracula replied. Seriously, Mr. D, I don't need it, Claudine said, holding up her hand. I was born knowing how to doggy paddle. I don't doubt that for a minute, Dracula replied. Still, if you're going to be in the water, I must insist. Now, I've got 4 life vests here, 1 for each of you. That's okay, Cleo replied. Only Claudine and Draculaura are going this time. Oh, perfect. Then you each wear 2 life vests. Life vests, Dracula said brightly. No, that's okay, Draculaura said quickly. 1 is enough, more than enough. And of course, don't forget the sunscreen. I have SPF 1000, Dracula continued. Sun safety is just as important as water safety. So, if you slather up and wear these lame vests, life vests, Claudine began, you'll let us go. There was a pause before Dracula answered. Yes, he said finally. I don't love the thought of you ghouls bobbing around in the ocean far from home, but I know that you will be careful as you can. Of course I will, Frankie said. Here, ghouls, let me help you get ready. Cleo's gold earrings were so big and shiny that Draculaura and Claudine used them as mirrors, staring at the reflections as they rubbed the extra thick sunscreen over their skin. Then Dracula inflated the life vest. I don't think it's possible to make these vests look good, Claudine whispered to Draculaura as a bulky life vest filled with air and got even bigger. Are there any more fantastic-looking options available? Ghoul, I wish, Draculaura whispered back. My dad has always been like this, but I think it's gotten a little worse since we started Monster High. Really? Asked Frankie. Draculaura nodded. Now, it's not just me he's worries about, but everyone else too. Dracula was breathless from blowing up the life vests. I think we're gonna just about done, he gasped. Claudine raked back her thick hair and held it out of the way, while Frankie and Cleo helped her put on the vest. You know, maybe these life vests aren't the worst idea, she joked. My mane is not easy to tame. If it gets tangled up from the wind and salt water, I guess we'll know soon enough, Draculaura replied as she fastened her belt buckles. Click, 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 click. Claudine turned to Draculaura. What do you think? Do I look good? Do I look ready? Draculaura stared at the puffy life vest and the goopy sunscreen coating Claudine's cheeks. Oh yeah, she said. We look ready for something. What exactly? I'm not sure, but ready or not, let's go. Together, Draculaura and Claudine placed their fingertips on the skullet. Next stop. Lagoona's home, wherever that is, Draculaura said. Lagoona esco monstrum. Whoosh! The trip fastened faster than usual. Draculaura barely had a chance to breathe before she realized that she was falling. The plunge was swift and sudden. She felt a wetness of water before she saw it. Draculaura braced herself, trying to take a deep breath before completing the total submersion. But thanks to the life vest, her head stayed above water, so she could breathe just fine. Claudine, Draculaura cried as she bobbed like an apple on the sky-blue waters. The life vests, they're keeping us afloat. I could get used to this, Claudine replied as she drifted a gentle wave. It's so relaxing, Draculaura agreed. Too bad Cleo and Frankie didn't come. They are definitely missing out. Have you ever seen water this blue and clear? Claudine asked. It's fantastic. Draculaura peered over the edge of her life vest. Whoa, she's breathing. She breathed. I can see all the way down the ocean floor. The sand is so white. It looks like pearls. Check those strands of seaweed. They're like ribbons, added Claudine. Do you think there are any coral reefs near here? Draculaura asked as she glanced around. Maybe, Claudine said. Actually, we must be pretty far out. I don't see anything but the beach. Not an island, nothing. The water must be even deeper than it looks, said Draculaura. We have to remember all of this. It will definitely help us figure out exactly where we are. Oh, I know where we are, Claudine joked, leaning back as far as her life vest would let her. Excuse me, guys. Paradise. I would love to take Scarcation here someday. Maybe Lagoona really is a sea monster and lives out here, Draculaura said excitedly. I can't wait to meet her. You know who else can't wait? Asked Claudine. That school of fish over there. Look how fast they're swimming. Slow down, little fishies. Draculaura joked. Yeah, what's the hurry? You should relax, like us, Claudine said. Right, Drac? But Draculaura didn't answer. Right, Drac? Claudine repeated. She reached out and gave Draculaura's shoulder a little shake. You okay? You look really pale all of a sudden. Or maybe it's just the sunscreen. It's not the sunscreen, Draculaura said, her voice barely more than whispered. Ghoul, look over there. Are you seeing what I'm seeing? Claudine shielded her eyes with her hand as she peered at the horizon. The brilliant sun shone so brightly that the water around them sparkled, which made it hard to see. Claudine squinted, strained her eyes, and then she finally realized why Draculaura was so pale. Is that a shark fin? Claudine cried. I think so, Draculaura replied. No wonder those fish were swimming so fast. We'd better get out of here, too. Let's try not to make any sudden motions, Claudine said. Maybe it won't see us. Maybe, Draculaura said, but I think it noticed us long before we noticed it. Claudine swallowed hard. I have a funny feeling about this. Me too, Drac replied. Don't look now, but I think it's coming this way. Right, done with Chapter 3. Here we go with Chapter 4. Chapter 4. Lagoona lay down on her board and paddled further out to sea. Approaching wave was bigger than any other wave she'd caught that morning. When it began to crest, she wanted to be ready in just the right position to ride it all the way home, and she would be. After all, Lagoona has been surfing ever since she's learned to swim as a baby. The new sound arose from the steady lapping of the water as the tides formed a tall, white-caped wave. Lagoona pulled herself into a crouching position, then carefully steadying herself, she started to stand. You ready, Ebby? Kelpie? Lagoona called to her sisters. Watch and learn. Go, Lagoona, her sisters cried. Hang 10. 3, 2, 1, Lagoona screamed as the wave met her board and catapulted her over the Kearney waters at the top speed. The wind blew her hair into the wild tangle, but Lagoona didn't care. The only thing she felt was a sense of joy that swelled as large as the wave, filling her with acceleration. Over the roar of the waves, Lagoona could hear her sisters cheering as she showed off her best move, peeking when she managed to pull off the roll without wiping out. She couldn't stop grinning as she maneuvered over to Evie and Kelpie. Good on ya, Lagoona, Kelpie said as they all swam towards home. Do you think I'll ever surf as well as you? Do I think it? No, Lagoona teased. I know it. But how will I ever learn after you go off to Monster High? Kelpie replied. Lagoona gave her sister a hug. Of course you'll learn, she said. Besides, I'll come home whenever we have Scaremester breaks. You can't get rid of me that easily. We're still going to miss you, Evie said with a pout. Then I guess I'll have to call you lots of make up for it, Lagoona told her sisters as they reached their hidden grotto. When they were all smiles again, she slipped away and checked her computer for a message from Draculaura. She hoped the system check was complete and everything would be up and running again. But when Lagoona got to her computer, the screen was black. She didn't even have a weak connection to Monster Web anymore. That is it this time, Lagoona wondered. Corbid cables, water-logged wires. Mom, Lagoona called. Help, the Monster Web is dead. Again? Lagoona's mother asked as she swam over to her. Look at the router, no signal. Lagoona told her, This is dreadful. What if Draculaura's trying to message me right now? Don't fuss. It will probably just end up in a queue. You'll get it when we fix the connection, Mom said, but that might be a while. Your dad and I saw a pair of normies in the deep water, bobbing around in those silly inflatable vests they like to wear. They're gone now, but he wants to keep watch in case they come back. It's unusual for them to be this far out. Normies! Lagoona was instantly alert. With the tropical cyclone coming? But I posted so many warnings this morning. Mum smiled affectionately. You and your pawn patrol, she said. But normies have a mind of their own, dearie. You know that. But Lagoona began. I've got to fix some Reiki for the little ones, Mum continued. Don't worry about Draculaura. I'm sure you'll be hearing from her soon. Lagoona was still troubled, even after Mum left the room. Why would a couple normies ignore my signs and go so far out of these conditions? She wondered. It doesn't make sense. She flipped the switch on the router back and forth, but it never lit up. That told Lagoona that the problem wasn't with her computer. From the look of it, the whole Monster Web was down. In this section of the ocean, Lagoona sat there, deep in thought. Then she abruptly stood up, swam towards the grotty hidden entrance. I'll go find Dad, she decided. Maybe he can help me fix the connection. If those normies come back, I want to see them for myself. Alright, that is the end of Chapter 4. We will read Chapter 5 in the next video. And I hope you guys have a good day. Thank you for listening.